Hi again, everyone. This video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous, and here's her story. Hi, Ollie. It's been a while since I've written in. I'm a childhood narc abuse survivor with a golden child narcissist older brother. I have been no contact with the entire side of my father's family for a few months now, and have been no contact with my mother and brother since October 2015. My mother and brother have long-term history of being relentless stalkers, especially when it comes to me, intruding into my business, wanting to control every aspect of my life and every person in it. The last time I had ran into my mother and brother, I had found out they both had been homeless for a year or so prior to this encounter. Oddly enough, the place that they squat, I guess you could say, is not far from where I currently live. I had moved from the previous location that I lived into a new location where they did not know where I was or could find me. Due to them moving back into state, finding out where I had lived and moved right down the road from me. I had continual problems with them showing up at my home and harassing me and my neighbors until the police were called. My mother had harassed and stalked my youngest son's bus driver, stalked my youngest son at his school, even to the extent of so-called randomly showing up at the unscheduled in the moment change of plans lunch location at one of my son's school field trips. His at the time teacher had called me frantic and freaking out about everything my mother had said after she had out of nowhere approached my son while the teachers were crossing the street with all the children. His teacher had told me that the field trip staff didn't even know until the last minute that they were going to a McDonald's instead of the other scheduled lunch location. Point being, with my mother's history, I'm not exactly sure how far she'll go, especially when an opportunity presents itself to kick a target when they're down, as narcissists will do. The upside of me running into them back in October 2015, I had not only found out that they had relocated to the town I currently live in, I had found out through my brother's endless questioning and trying to extract personal information from me, performing his slave-driven flying monkey duty on behalf of my mother's demand, that he had already attained all the information that he had been questioning me on, and I refused to give him. He went on to further prove this by giving a detailed rundown about the people in my life that they hadn't known about, and the slew of people he went through to gain each tidbit of information he did. Basically, the ridiculous amount of time and energy poured into this, it's just crazy in my opinion. I wanted to give a couple examples before I went on. And that's something that narcissists do. They will basically do opposition research on you and interrogate you. That's why it's like an interrogation. Because I'll tell you, one of the things about when you're interrogating somebody, if you're a professional interrogator and you're interrogating someone, normally you already know the answers to most of the questions you're asking. You're going in, unless it's a pure cold interview or a fact-finding interview. If it's a pure fact-finding interview, that's one thing. But a real interrogator, when they're really trying to extract information, they already know the answers to the questions you're asking them. The reason they don't tell you they know is because they want to find out what else you might give up that they didn't know about. It's a pure interrogation tactic. And when used by people who aren't doing actual legitimate interrogations, it's the tactic narcissists love to use to gather information. One of the things I flipped out about when I was a kid, I went in to this phone book my mother used to hide, and in it was every phone number of every friend I had. Not that my friend's personal phone numbers and information and notes, and it was just so violating. So I get it. I have CPTSD stemming from the abusive childhood upbringing. Since I ran into them over a year ago, I've had this nagging back burner fear that they actually do know where I live now, being that they are so close and they and they are just in laying in wait mode for the time being. I do realize this sounds paranoid due to the CPTSD. This could be a completely irrational fear. I do acknowledge. I don't think it's irrational. If she's crazy enough to find your son on a field trip and pull him out, and like, she'll be able to find where you live quite easily. I don't know why you would think that's paranoid. Up until recently, I didn't have a problem dealing or coping with that. Life went on as normal as it usually did. Back to what I was saying about an opportunity presenting itself to kick a target when they're down, as narcissists will do. An ultimate irresistible opportunity for predators of this nature. We buried my first and only grandbaby on November 30th, 2016. Oh my God, I'm sorry. He was born November 27th, 2016, and passed on November 27th. My oldest son, only 21 years old, had just graduated from Correctional Officer Academy and is working as a prison guard in a maximum security prison. A noble job, in my opinion. His girlfriend and my only grandchild's mother is only 19 years old. For the both of them, too young for such a tragedy to have occurred. Both sides of the family are currently going through the grieving process, as to be expected. My grandchild's young mother is having an especially difficult time with this, of course. Not that this is an issue, not that this is about me. I have this feeling of impending dread that my narcissistic family, that I have been no contact with, will somehow find out about this 10 to 20 steps down the grapevine and come after my son and future daughter-in-law. Come after may come across as a little melodramatic to those who aren't familiar with this level of narcissism. I just know my family, the things they have done decades on end, and the things they are actually capable of doing. Not to sound creepy, for them, this would be a mouth-watering, irresistible opportunity to come out and achieve the ultimate form of narcissistic supply. They had done this to their own daughter at the birth of both of my children. I honestly don't see anything standing in their way for this. In the event that any of them do find out, as I've heard you say before, Ollie, these people are terminators and absolutely do not stop. Any advice or opinions from anyone who may have dealt with something like this would be greatly appreciated. Thank you, Anonymous. Well, first, I'm sorry about your grandchild. I mean, that's awful. And obviously, this is fresh and raw. I mean, because this is December 5th, and it's basically 5 days after you buried your grandchild, and you're coming to me for help. Wow. Look, you said it all yourself, okay? And I've said it multiple times on many videos. The narcissist is not going to miss an opportunity to kick you when you're down. They're not going to miss an opportunity to turn things back in their favor. They're not. That's what they're programmed to do. Her pulling your son out of line, your grandchild out of line, or your son out of line on a school trip, and showing up in your town a year after the fact. I mean, that's crazy. But that's what narcissists do. The reason you're having this impending doom is because they're there. They're right there, and they obviously have a propensity of getting information on you like your brother did. So, I mean, it's logical to figure they'd be able to figure out where you live, because they're looking for information. They're obviously going to find out about this, and they're obviously going to try to use it in their favor. The best thing you can do, and I tell this to everybody about these situations, is to be honest and upfront with everybody you talk to, your friends, your son's girlfriend's family, everybody. Say, listen, you may not understand it, but I am telling you, eventually you're going to get a call, or you're going to be confronted by either my mother and my brother, and they are bad people and they need to be out of my life and my children's lives and everybody's lives. And if you hear from them, you need to please tell me. Please tell me. Whether or not you talk to them, I would rather you didn't, but you're an adult. You can do what you want. But I'm telling you, these people abused me my entire life, and I care nothing of what they have to say. I had them out of my life, and they are stalking me and tracking me down. Now, you also may want to bring it to the point, if it continues, like that thing with the grandchild, with your son. I mean, that's grounds for getting for getting restraining orders. I mean, that's restraining order time. And I think what it is you're upset because you feel you had gotten away and you were free, and now here they are again. A year ago, they pop back in with this sob story of being homeless. You know they're digging for information. Now you just went through this, losing your grandson. And I don't think you're making it about you, but in a way you have to make it about you, because it's going to affect your entire family as well going forward. Because this is when the attack is going to come. And you have to be able to say, I am upset, obviously, over my grandchild, and there's a lot of mourning that needs to be done. But unfortunately, after dealing with the abuse that I have gone through, there is another level of protection while through mourning that you have to take account of. And that sucks. That sucks. But that's our reality. That's our reality. And it's another thing that just makes all this all the more difficult. Horrific thing to have happen like that. It's a horrific thing to have happen. Losing your first grandchild like that, and then having to take time out to mourn, to worry about, Jesus Christ, are these abusers going to use this to attack me with? And you can't even mourn. It sucks. It's unfair. It's why we all have these, get these revenge daydreams about our narcissists, and so want justice and revenge, because there is no revenging any of this. This poor woman can't even mourn her grandchild without having to worry about these people showing up. And they will. They'll try. The best thing you can do is guard against it by informing everybody you can of what is eventually going to come, and to be prepared for it. And at that point, anybody who still continues to try to have a conversation with them, relationship with them, argue in their behalf, you know what you got to do at that point. The narcissist won't even let you mourn, because you got to be prepared for the attack. And that's a terrible thing. I'm sorry again for your loss. And I thank you again for your contribution and your story. I mean, coming to me when this is so fresh for guidance. I mean, I hope this advice helps you. I really do, because I understand it's a crucial time for you to come to me when it's so fresh and you really need supporting guidance. So I hope this helps, and thank you again. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, or a narcissist you'd like to expose, you know what to do with the PayPal and the email link in the description box. I'll have the video right back to you. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks for watching. See you all again soon.